Growing up, my family would go on road trips every Christmas holiday from Lagos to our hometown in Adamawa State, Nigeria. Inspired by this experience are 25 staple recipes and heartfelt stories just for you. This is Sally's 25 Days of Christmas. To make our Kunu Zaki, we'll be using millet grains. The full list of ingredients and the measurements will be in the description box below. Make sure you pick and wash your millets, okay, especially if you buy them from the local markets. They tend to have a lot of stones in them. And just for a burst of flavor, I'm going to be mixing this with some white guinea corn. The same procedure with the millet. You have to pick them and wash them. These are the stones that I was able to remove. In fact, stones and chaff. You can even see some grains of rice as well. So it's very important that you pick them. Next, I'm going to be adding dried tiger nuts. This is optional, but just for flavor as well. We're trying to build a very nice flavor profile for your Kunu Zaki drink. We're going to be using dried ginger for a little bit of freshness and heat. And then we are going to be using dried chilies. The measurement for this is really dependent on you, on how spicy you like your drink to be. You can skip the peppers if you don't like any form of spice. Cloves as well to add some spice and also some nice flavor. So the first step is to soak our millets, soak our grains. This drink takes 3 days to make. Okay, so this is day one. Day one, you're going to pick your grains, wash them thoroughly, and then you're going to soak them overnight. You're basically soaking them for 24 hours. This is so that they can be soft and they can be easy to grind, and so that you can get a very nice puree from them as well. So you're just going to give this a good wash. I advise you do this under running tap water. Strain the water multiple times until the water becomes clear, okay, and then you know that your grains are properly washed and cleaned. So now that my grains are washed and cleaned properly, I'm just going to add in enough water to cover every single grain. This is going to be covered and set aside to soak for 24 hours. So I'll be back the next day to continue the process. Okay, so the next day, this is what we have. We are going to strain this and we are going to rinse it once more. Okay, you can rinse it once or twice after straining, because at this time it would be fermented. It would have this fermented smell. So you're going to strain the water and then you're going to rinse your grains. So into your blender, you are going to add in your grains and then add in the dried spices that we measured already. We're going to add them in, add a generous amount of water and blend. Okay, you can do this industrially. You can take this to the commercial grinder that people use. Just make sure that they grind strictly grains, millet and all those kind of things. Don't go to the ones that grind pepper and beans and all those kind of things. There are some commercial grinders that deal strictly with grinding millets and guinea corn and stuff like that. So yeah, this drink is a very refreshing, creamy and just a very unique, nutritious drink in the north that is quite popular. And unfortunately, a lot of people love it but don't know how to make it. It's fortunate that they love it, yeah, but it's unfortunate that they don't know how to make it. And some have tried to even commercialize the idea because it's not a prominent drink in their area, but unfortunately they don't just get it right. And so this is a tutorial to help you get it right because I was born and brought up in Lagos. My mom made this a lot growing up. At some point, it was a commercial thing for her as well. And the moment people got to know that, oh, this tastes really nice. I mean, it's well made. It's a Hausa woman making this. They would give her contracts. She would supply people and stuff like that. I schooled in Ilorin, and traveling to Ilorin, being there for I studied a 4 years course, even though I was there for more than 4 years with the pandemic and everything. I never for once tasted a well-made Kunu Zaki there, because the people who made it there did not just make it right. It was either raw, it tasted raw, or it was fermented, or it didn't just taste right. Maybe they mixed in something they weren't supposed to mix it. I do not know what it was, but it's just so sad how people do not know how to make this drink. So this is a tutorial and an opportunity to help you guys get it right. Okay, so this is still day 2, and we are blending and straining. So to strain this, you can use a cheesecloth, the same way people make ogi, akamu, pap, that thing. Is the same way we're basically going to make this. This is a strainer that has been made with the cheesecloth fabric. Okay, it's not a regular sieve, it's not a regular flour sieve. Please do not mistake this for that. It has a very, very smooth fabric, just like a cheesecloth. So the only thing that you are getting from here is the liquid. Every single chaff is going to be removed. Every single shaft is going to be removed. You don't want any form of shaft in this. We just need the juice. Okay, we need the juice, as you can see. And so we're just going to strain this. This is a way that my mom taught me to. I watched her do it countless of times this way. Of course, like I said, in the north we cook a lot with our hands. I've said that in my previous videos, and you just have to always ensure that your hands are properly washed and properly cleaned. And just going to go in with your hands, strain this, squeeze it. We're also going to add water. Now the thing is, don't be afraid to go in with enough water. We need to squeeze out as much juice as we can. So even after straining this and pressing down the juice from blending, we are still going to rinse the shaft in the sieve with some water, as you'd be seeing in the video. This is just to ensure that we extract everything that can be extracted from our blended grains. We want to be able to extract all that juice. So the purpose of this is to get the pap. I don't know the English name for that, but you see, this juice that we are getting, we are going to let it settle. And when it settles, the water that we've been adding in the grains is going to separate from the grains itself. So the grains will rest at the bottom of the bowl, whereas the water floats on the top. So we are just going to set this aside for another 24 hours. 24 hours because of the quantity that I made. If you're making this in a larger quantity, then you may need a little over 24 hours for it to really settle. So as at, let's say, 18 hours, I decided to check it out, and this is what I had. This is day 3 now, and you can see that the water, which is like the whey, W-H-E-Y, right? The whey has separated from the paste. So you're just going to use a spoon and gently scoop out the water that has floated to the top. And the reason why I did this as at 18 hours in is because I was still going to leave it to rest for the remaining 6 hours, so that I can really get water to float to the top. So you're just going to do this, remove every single whey that has floated to the top, and then you're going to strain it. It will get to a point where you can't use the spoon anymore, because you begin to start scooping the paste at the bottom of the bowl. So what you're just going to do is gently pick up your bowl and just like strain out the water, pour out the water, but do it carefully. Don't just do it at once with force. Do it carefully so you don't end up spilling out the entire paste at the bottom of the bowl as well. Good thing the whey is translucent, so you can actually see through it, and you can see where your paste starts from and all that good stuff. Okay, so now this is the place where you pay serious attention, because this is the place where a lot of people make mistakes in making their Kunu Zaki. We are going to be sharing our paste into two, however not two equal parts. We are basically doing like a 70-30 split of our paste. This is because the 70% of our paste is going to be made like pap, is going to be cooked, whereas the 30% raw paste is going to be added into our cooked paste. You would see that later in the video, you understand much better. So where people make mistakes is that they think maybe it's a 50-50 share of the paste. Some people put too much raw paste into the cooked one, and so the end result of your Kunu Zaki tastes raw, or has a fermented taste, or just tastes wrong, even has a wrong texture and it feels grainy in the mouth, right? That is not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have a 70-30 split. So now for our 70% split, we are going to dilute this with some water. You're going to dilute this with some water as though you're making pap, as though you're making akamu, as though you're making ogi, whatever language you understand that in, as though you're making cereal, right? So we are going to dilute that, but we are not diluting it in a way that it will be a very thick pap. We just want it to be thick, but like not so thick like you're trying to have a breakfast with a side dish. We're just going to make a thick pap. That's about that. I don't know how else to explain that, but yeah, this is the consistency that we'll be using for the diluted one. And then we are just going to boil some water. Make sure that the water is boiling, like it's bubbling. You are making pap at this point, so you have to make sure it is cooked, which is another mistake some people make. They do not allow it to cook. They do not make it cooked. If it doesn't cook, it's going to taste raw. Take out your spoon or whatever you were using to stir and just pour in your hot water at once. The moment you see the paste change color, you stop pouring your water. The moment you see that it has turned dark, just stop pouring your water. It means that it's cooked. Give it a few seconds, allow that heat to set, allow the heat to cook through, allow the heat to marinate everything in that bowl, and then you go in with your spoon and you stir quickly. You want to stir quickly. You don't want to give the thing any chance or opportunity to have lumps or whatever. Just stir quickly. Stir quickly. I advise maybe you even use like a spatula for this stage of making it. Here we have our beautiful pap. You can see how silky smooth our pap is. So you're just going to even this out and then sprinkle a generous amount of normal room temperature water on the surface. This is so that it doesn't form a skin. We're going to allow this to cool completely before we proceed to the next step. So while it's cooling, it tends to form a skin, so we are just going to sprinkle generous amounts of water on the top so that it doesn't form that skin. Now that it has cooled completely, we are going to go in with our raw mix. First of all, we are going to dilute our raw mix with enough water and make sure it's runny. The raw paste is what is going to help us loosen this thick paste so we can have a runny drinkable drink. Okay, so we are just going to add in all of our raw paste, the 30% you reserved. Add it all in, but make sure you dilute it with enough water. And it's okay if you have added in your entire dry mix and it seems like the kunu is still too thick. Hey, just add in more water. Don't panic, okay? Add in more water. That until you get the consistency that you like. At this point, you want to add in whatever flavors or sweeteners you want to add as well. Commonly and generally, we use white granulated sugar to sweeten this. You can use honey, you can use whatever sweetener you prefer. At this point, add that in and stir. Add in as much water as you want to get the consistency you like. Okay, it's about you at this point. Just note that it's not supposed to be too runny, neither is it supposed to be too thick. It's a syrupy consistency, but it's also drinkable. That's how best I can explain it. You want something that is fluid enough to be drinkable but has a syrupy texture and is not too watery or runny. Okay, So that is the consistency we are looking for. However, if you like yours to be thick, please have fun with it. Okay, do whatever it is that you like, make it however it is you prefer. At this point, our Kunu Zaki is ready, and we are just going to bottle this up, put it in our refrigerator, and enjoy chilled. Now note that when you refrigerate your Kunu Zaki, you do not allow it to get frozen. Freeze, it's going to harden and form crystals. By the time it comes back down to room temperature, it's not going to be smooth. You will never be able to get a smooth consistency again once you allow it to freeze. So you're just going to chill this, you're going to refrigerate it. Another thing you'll notice when you refrigerate your Kunu Zaki is that the water in it may separate from the pap, but it's okay, don't panic. Just shake your bottle and then your drink is back to normal and you can have it and enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please ensure that you try this recipe. Share this video to your loved ones. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for your support. I'll see you in my next video. Have a beautiful Christmas.